Thay means teacher, simple. And then it's simple to say Thay. So Thay is not only a teacher of breathing and stopping and being aware, but is a great, great inspirer, a teacher of love, of compassion, of good relationships. And we will go into that in our time together, because it has to do with education, it has to do with daily life. And as the word education, which comes from Latin, means ex ducere, means to bring forth, to bring outside something which is inside. So education is involved with helping this natural, necessary process of revealing, of bringing forth the light that is inside, the ability to understand, the ability to be gentle, to be patient, to be benevolent, the ability to understand, and therefore, as a consequence, in time, to be able to love. Because the foundation of love is deep understanding. So, in meeting Thay, I was captured by his presence containing all the story of his life. He comes from a country, Vietnam, where there has been war for 2-3 decades. First the French colonization, then the Americans coming, wanting to protect Vietnam against communism. So to make it short, Thay was a young monk. He became monk at the age of 16, but he was also an intellectual, a poet, so he was studying a lot, and he was realizing that Buddhism in his country was not what really he was understanding to be real Buddhism. For him, real Buddhism means that you generate peace in yourself, but then you offer that peace outside to everybody. And in a country which is in war, with people being killed and killing and dying and destruction every day, he saw very clearly inside the pagoda, inside the temple, I practice and I calm myself in order to bring this calm, this peace outside to my people. So he has been a really, I would say, a peaceful warrior, so much so that at a certain point he met Martin Luther King in the United States, because he traveled to the United States because he wanted to speak about peace. And he declared that in a war, nobody is the winner. Nobody can win a war. The winner is reconciliation. When we reconcile, then both sides, we have been winning the war. There is no more war. And also he declared that the real enemy is never outside, that the real enemy is inside. Because enemy is not a man, another man. He said in his poems, he has written, he is a great poet, he said, if we kill all the men, then we can live. We can share life if we kill human beings. So we have to transform, to kill the enemy inside. And what is this enemy? The energy of hate, the energy of anger, the energy of discrimination, the energy of misunderstanding, the energy of malevolence, all those energies that transform the relationships between myself and the other in a battlefield. So this enemy that is within has to be recognized. We have to come to terms with this enemy, to embrace this enemy, to make peace with this enemy inside ourselves. And so for me, a new journey started, with all the background of the teaching of Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, but then my journey was enriched, by this which is not only a vision, it is an incarnated vision, a living vision of how to make peace, how to be peace at any moment in yourself, with yourself, as the precondition, indispensable condition to be peace, bring peace, and make peace with any other human beings, with any other species, with life in general. And not only I was fascinated, but I felt, okay, this is what I want to practice. This is what I want to go inside, myself. I want to follow this path. And of course, as we know, any path is made by steps. If you go into the woods and there is no path, you open the path, making a first step, and then a second step, then somebody comes after you, and thanks to your steps, can follow and make other steps. And year after year in the forest, there will be a big path where many people can walk, and go through. So this means that one step is not enough. So, okay, the path of making peace with myself, I realize is wonderful, but I want to practice it, and I want to be able to walk, on this path. And so day after day, of course, as we all know already, to make these steps, it means that you have to not only to practice, but day after day, thanks to the practice, also to study, to reflect, and to acquire, more subtle means, because in the forest, then you meet with many dangers. You meet with many lions and tigers, and these lions and tigers in our path are inside ourselves, our energy inside, which, and here comes a very incredible teaching, our energy, what is inside of us is not only me, so this I, me, I do, I think, little by little becomes smaller, because I realize that in my cells, there are all my ancestors. There is experience of many decades and centuries of life in the planet, in the country where I was born, first of all in my family, then in the region, in the country. But then slowly, I realized that human life, so complex, in a way, is recorded in my cells. So many wars, so many battles, but also, fortunately, so many wonderful things like great discoveries, great intelligence, great art. Everything is in my cells, everything is recorded, and I only need the time to stop and to become aware of that, so that I don't feel any kind of independent personality, one block of personality with my opinions, my view, but I start, melting and understanding how rich is my being. And in doing that, Thay has introduced a wonderful new word which says, you can not be by yourself alone. You can only interbe with any other things, species, men, and other things on the earth. You inter-are with sunshine, because how is my day if there is no sunshine? You inter-are also with the clouds, because how are the plants in my garden if there is never rain? And so you inter-are with the energy and the experience of your parents, because they have left, very important seeds in your consciousness. You inter-are with the experiences of many generations in your country, and you have, if you take time to reconcile with those experiences, both in the negative sense or appreciate in the positive sense. So slowly, thanks to Thay, to his teaching, which has started to vibrate in my cells, I become aware day after day that I am not separated by others, that I can only interact and communicate, try to better my way of communicating every day a little, so that I make, this interbeing nature really real, because it is already real. But if I forget about that, I am in war. I am always separating from others. So what has all this to do with us in this very moment? Because, to speak about Thay's teaching, it's of course, I mean, Zen Buddhism is very complex. The Buddha has been teaching the Four Noble Truths. I don't know how many of you are familiar. You are in the country of the Buddha, so most of you are familiar with the rudiments, or much more, of course. So the Four Noble Truths, the eightfold path, and the first noble truth, which is really noble, is a very cosmic experience, very real in this moment on the planet. It is called suffering. Yes, there is suffering, which does not mean, because Buddha never said everything, all is suffering. No, he said suffering is there. Please take the time to acknowledge it. Don't reject, don't exclude, don't pretend that it is not there. So you watch television, you go to the movies, you drink Coca-Cola, you smoke, because, everything is okay, I'm okay. That is ignoble, that is not noble. So the first noble truth invites us just to become aware, very simple. Okay, in this moment, there is uneasiness in me, there is agitation, there is fear, there is preoccupation, there is anger, all that we know. The list is very long, and we all are experts, in all these states of mind, states of feeling, states of our heart, So we are experts on that. But what maybe we can become expert in is how to balance all these destructive energies that go under the word dukkha. Okay, but you know what's dukkha, under suffering, the word suffering, and be in touch with the antidotes, with what is there also. Because while we speak, there are so many wonderful things in the planet going on, happening. Springtime in our part of the world is just preparing very, very slowly. It will take time, but we can see some, on the branches of the tree. And if I look at a tree just in front of me at the moment, how it is sensitive to the wind, a very, very mild wind that it moves, and it seems that it's speaking with the wind, is communicating. And if we go in our, say, inner eye, and we look at the children that are at the moment inspiring this reunion, this meeting, because we are here under the name of Happy Teachers Change the World. And there are happy teachers because there are happy children somewhere, some students, any age, from 1 year or less to all life. Okay, so as a kind of antidote, this our meeting is inviting us to be happy, which is, the other side of suffering. And one very interesting thing to tell you, to share with you, is that in this interbeing nature of everything, that Thay is really with an incredible, lived experience, so truth, authentic, it's an authentic statement. This statement, everything is connected, and it goes as far as saying also suffering and happiness inter are. So it goes as far as to say there cannot be happiness if there is no suffering, because there cannot be a lotus flower if there is a mud, where the lotus flower can, just take its energy to come and become and bloom as a lotus. And we can imagine so many other, examples. There cannot be a vegetable garden if there is no compost. How to call it in English? I don't remember. What makes the land fertile.
Cow dung.
Cow dung or water. Yeah. So we need cow dung as much as we need jasmine flowers, because they are connected. They are together, and they can. If we want to separate them, there is the problem. There is that the deep suffering, because we don't recognize this interaction. Therefore, we don't recognize the possibility of healing the suffering, of transforming the suffering. And so, going again back to Thay and of course the teaching of the Buddha, the Four Noble Truths, which there is suffering, and there is a cause to suffering, the second noble truth, and then there is a way out of suffering. Therefore, there can be happiness. Third noble truth, and the fourth, there is a path, a marga, conducting from one situation to the other. And okay, we are meeting now on this marga, on this path, okay, all together. And I dare to speak a little Sanskrit with you, thanks to my Indian origin, spiritual origin. Okay, I was born in India, so that's my history. That's it. So I'm very grateful. I'm really very grateful. Thank you, Amo, for giving me the opportunity to share with you, because it's like finding, my big family. And
you can use Indian words happily.
Yes.
We will know them.
And so thank you for being here together. And so the Four Noble Truths, then they, of course, give origin to the Eightfold Path, Noble Path. But now this Noble Path, as we know, it starts on right view, right vision. And already we have shared that if our vision is that of interbeing, that everything is connected with everything else, if my suffering has something to do also with my happiness and vice versa, then already this is right view. Then already I have a medicine, I have a cure for my suffering, because I know that whatever is there, not only it will change, because the law of the planet is impermanence, parinama, everything changes all the time. But also everything is connected with everything else. Now, what have we to do with this? I mean, how to proceed? What are the steps? Just coming back to our meeting today. And please, Amta, interrupt me anytime you want to interrupt me, okay? And and so why we are today here, and right view, so having this new look, on reality, on what happens, seeing that at any moment there is an interaction, brings us to have new thoughts, new way of thinking, and then new way of speaking, and then new ways of acting. So let's stop a little moment here. So in the field, we are meeting in the field of education, okay? We already know what is a field. A field is an open space where many good things can happen. It can be rice or wheat or many other crops. So we are meeting on this field for happy teachers, to have happy students, happy life. And the inspiration comes from our life if we are students of life, which can be called Thay, or can be called yoga, or can be called how you want to call it. We don't want to stop at one personality, but we want to understand and to bring into our life the essence of those experiences that these great people have transmitted to us. So I would like now to take a little time to offer you a practice so that we can just have a little experience together. And the practice that we can share, we can be sitting.
Wow, you colored it beautifully.
Or if you want, we can be lying, if anybody wants to be lying, if you have, the earphones and you can hear. Because the only condition is to be really in a comfortable posture, whatever it is. If we are sitting on the floor, cross legs, we know what it is and we do it. Or if we want to be in the chair, then we put our feet on the ground so that our spine, we know very well this language. We are in India, so we know what it means to be stable and comfortable in a posture. And this is just the starting point, because feeling at ease, feeling I am at ease is always the starting point. I cannot help anybody, any age, to be at ease with me if I am not at ease in that very moment. Because knowing or not knowing, I will transmit, my little anger, my little preoccupation, or my big irritation without even saying anything. It will go on for the law of interbeing of everything with everything else. So this is a good start for all of us. Can you imagine when you enter the room, the school room, and and all these wonderful beings are there, and we are really, before entering, we have calmed down. We have created, a vibration of really joyful, happy feeling in our heart. And when did we go there? And everybody's shouting and jumping and boom, and then. Any age, even when they are 15, they are fighting. Any age, there is no stopping of this situation. And somebody comes and looks around, and there is a sun ray coming from the window, or there is a flower on the table, or there is somebody who is in a way very playful, and we are able to recognize and to appreciate what is there in that very moment, because we are not bringing all that luggage, heavy luggage with us, not because we want to separate, because now the practice comes into the picture. So we are talking about something true, something authentic, not something to leave behind in the sense of ignoring, but something to bring with us, recognizing and transforming. So these are keywords, because awareness, which brings to mindfulness in the language, in the old language, we use more the word awareness. I am aware. I'm conscious of it, which in a way is even more than I'm mindful. It is I know what is happening inside myself. And for this to happen, we have to stop. In the language of Buddhism, it is called samatha, stopping. So we have a nice posture now. We have stopped. We have accepted to stop. Have we accepted to stop? This is my question to all of you. Let's have a little moment to develop an aspiration, an inclination. Shall we really sit or lie down in a comfortable posture and prepare ourselves to a practice of becoming aware of many things inside ourselves, which in short today we call practice of mindfulness. I love to call it a practice of loving presence to life. So if we really want to do that, that is the starting point. Nothing can happen otherwise. So another step is, shall we accept to close our eyes? Or demi-close our eyes, or whatever. I also can do it, because I don't want to, and I don't need to look outside. I don't need to search outside in this moment. I can be inside myself. This is my choice at the moment. This is our choice. And the first thing that we can encounter in being easy in a posture, closing our eyes, we can encounter something which is always there inside of us, because it means life. It is life. And we can call this life breath, the breath, breathing. It is there. It means I am alive. And the breathing, which goes on in me from day to night and without interruption, is now calling me and saying, can you please be with me, really? So can you please put your nice two hands on your breast here, just to feel how the breath, I'm moving your breast. Your breast is moving thanks to me. Your breast is expanding. Your breast is withdrawing just a little, not doing anything, only to listening. I am listening to life inside of myself. I'm listening to the rising and falling of my breath thanks to the movement of the breath. We can do it 3 times in silence. Breathing in, breathing out. Each one of us with our time, no forcing, only being there and listening. And now we can go and put our 2 noble hands on our abdomen to feel, to listen, to become aware of the movement of the abdomen thanks to the breath. When I breathe in, the abdomen expands a little bit. Breathing out, it goes down a little bit. No forcing, just being there, paying attention, being present. 3 breaths. And now we bring our 2 hands in front of our eyes. We open our eyes a little moment to recognize the precious presence of our 2 hands. How beautiful, how precious, how special they are, our 2 hands. How many things they allow me during the day to experience beautifully. 2 loving hands. And for a moment, recognizing how precious they are, I bow to them. And you in India are expert in this gesture, very precious, to bow to something precious inside of us and outside of us. And just as our 2 hands, so precious, I now recognize and I express my gratitude. I want to feel for a moment my 2 feet. I press my 2 feet on the floor if I am on a chair, or I can even caress for a moment my 2 feet if I am cross-legged on the floor. Or I can just feel and move a little my 2 feet if I'm lying down, because also to my 2 feet I want to say, I recognize your precious presence. I am very grateful to you. And here we open a universe of gratitude, a universe of recognizing the preciousness of life, because there are thousand reasons, 1,000 molecules in our body to be grateful to, all our organs, all that we are. Today, we must make it a little shorter for the sake of, of being just, in time with our thing. So this gratitude, this recognition has to do with stopping, being present, breathing, recognizing, because the moment I breathe in, I breathe out, and already we have done it quite a few times, naturally, is calming us. We are less agitated. And we can make some few steps more, at least in this moment, all together. Because we want to go into our mind now, in the space of our mind, which is also the space of our heart. We know, and we all know that the real seat of the mind is in the heart. They are together. They want to be together. When they are separated, we suffer a lot. So we go into the space of our mind, heart, to see ourselves as that 5-year-old little child, a boy, in our case, a girl. We are that little child, little girl, 5 years old, with her energy, her need to jump and to shout and to cry and to smile and to laugh and to know and to experience all that vitality of that little girl, 5 years old. Happy girl in her family, happy girl in her school, happy girl. And we smile to that girl, breathing in, breathing out. My dear little one, I know you are there, and you are still there. At that moment, I also see that day when you were crying, when you were not really happy. I can see that day when somebody was shouting at you and you were very unhappy. I can see one day when in school somebody was throwing a pencil to you in a bad mood, and you were really, very, very sorry, very, very unhappy. So in this very moment, I can see you, my little girl, 5 years old, and then growing a little bit, becoming 6 and 7 years old. And I can see and smile at you, at all your happiness, and also at all your fear, all your moments of sadness, all your moments of unhappiness. Yes, I can see you. And today, as a loving mother, I open my two arms, literally. I really open my two arms and I want to embrace you, my 5 and 6 and 7 years old girl. I want to recognize you the way you are, the way you have been, and I recognize that you are still inside myself, asking for understanding, asking for presence, asking for being accepted just as you are. Let's take a little moment in silence to communicate all this to our little, very young girl inside of us. Recognize her joy and her pain, and finally telling her, now I will take care of you. Now I'm here for you. Now I accept you as you are, and I want to offer you my calm, my peace, my ability to listen to you, to recognize you as you are, to embrace you, to speak to you in a new way. Yes, in a new way. And I want to tell you that I'm very happy that I can take care of you. And from now on, I promise, I will stop 1, 2, 3 breaths, not more. Every now and then during the day, wherever I am, even at the bus stop, even at the traffic light. When I'm there and I breathe 3 times and I am in touch with your fragility, your sensitivity, your need to be listened to and understood. I promise. So from now on, I can tell you very often during the day, I'm here for you. I recognize your joy. I recognize your pain. I'm here to be joyful with you. I'm here to embrace your pain so that finally you can smile. We are together because we are. We are one. And your joy is my joy. Your pain is my pain. And now I know, thanks to the path that I am treading, that at any time when I stop and calm down and breathe and look deeply and listen deeply, we can smile together. So I thank you, my little girl, who are always with me. We are. And little by little, gently, we can open our eyes and again smile to ourselves, smile to life, smile to the energy of mindfulness, of awareness, of transformation, of happiness that has brought all of us together today to share some treasure, to feel that we can contribute to something good, to a better world in a way, even now, or especially now, in this very moment on this planet. So I suggest that we have 3 minutes, no more, 3 minutes, where everybody who wants can just write down a few lines of his of her experience of this time together up to now. Just take note not of what has been said, but take note of what is your experience of what has been said, so that it stays with you in your notebook, in your diary. Just 3 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. And Amo, I think we are respecting the time as you were, no, in your plan. And so maybe now I will go into the book a little.
Yes,
okay?
yes,
Yeah?
sure, yes, yeah. That was a draft plan. You can take it where you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, but first of all, I want to share with you an image of Thay with children. I don't know if, tell me, Nalini, if you can see it.
A little higher? A little higher, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
because you know that all through his life, Thay has been always with children, teaching to children. For example, in a retreat, in a meditation retreat, mindfulness retreat, which can be 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, or 1 month. In the first line, always the first half an hour was devoted to give a Dharma talk to children, to everybody, but in the front line there were children, any age. Then after half an hour that they were listening, they would go out and continue with some monastics or some other adults just to pray, but always children. And so all the practices he has been teaching to children. And we will go into that also now through the book, so that you have which is not a book which has been written. This book is only the recording of years and years and years of experience. So then, it was necessary for the world to offer something that also kind of reassures, everybody, which is close to reality, because, it's not easy to into the school, into the world as we know it, is not so easy to bring, into daily life, with all the problems that are there. So we are not planning, an extra world, but our plan is only to have a better world. So the world as it is quite, we know, and we want to do something good in the direction where our heart feels, yes, we want to. And this expression, happy teachers, actually came after quite a few years that I were, and with many of us, we were working in that direction. Here in Italy, I remember in 1997, we were able to bring together 500 school boys and girls aged from 10 to 13 in a public place where there was the mayor of the city, anyhow, 500 school children, and of course, with the teachers. Then in 2008, we were in another city in Naples, in the south of Italy. Again, we grouped 500. This time, they were high school students with Thay. And the Dharma talk that he was offering to them for almost 2 hours was about love. And these, teenagers, high school, it means 15, 16, 17. For 2 hours, they were just, speechless. And when Thay finally said, okay, now you can come out and ask all the questions you want to ask, nobody was shy. All these more than teenagers, 15, 16, 17, they were just, in a crowd, just going near Thay and asking the most authentic questions. And Thay was answering their questions in the most authentic way. Same thing for the teachers. The teachers were just out of their mind. How is it possible that there is so easy communication between a Zen master and these young boys and girls from the south of Italy, just instant, because there was something authentic which was going from, life, from one life to another life. So this is what this book is about. So it has not been written on the table. No, it is a transcription of years and years of really practicing, experiencing, sharing, communicating, aware of the difficulty, aware of the problems, aware of the suffering that is in ourselves, wherever we are, any age, any place, any time. And at the same time, the potential of happiness that is all the time, any place, wherever we are. So this there is a non-dualistic approach, you understand? It is an interbeing approach to suffering, happiness together. This is why he can afford saying happy teachers change the world, because it's a real revolution. And we are called to make this revolution, first of all, inside ourselves. And the good news is that we can really do with little moments in during the day. We don't need to stay 2 hours on a cushion to meditate, to do that. It's much more efficient if we do 3 minutes, 5 minutes, very often, wherever we are, in the midst of confusion. Instead of smoking a cigarette, we just are with our breath, breathe in and out, and in time we build our practice. So with this, say, premise, we go into the book together if you like, or if you don't have the book, I just want to illustrate, the sequence, just going to the index, to the content. Because the first actually content that we need is breathing. Okay, so I don't dwell on that because we have touched that point. Okay, the breathing, that is the starting point. Stopping, listening to your breath, which is always there. Good news. And because you listen to it, to him or her, the breath changes in your favor. If it was agitated, because I'm listening, the breath comes. Then we find the second, say, chapter is introducing a very, very important friend of all of us. And now today we make friend with this friend, is a bell. The bell of mindfulness, which can be as small as this one, or big, or big, or big. And we will see that it does not need to be a real metal bell, because the bell of mindfulness can also be when the telephone rings. So the bell of mindfulness is a sound, something which is happening that I associate with my practice. So that is up to us to decide what is my bell of mindfulness. But to start with, let's just a moment, let's to listen to the sound of this bell, real bell. And in the tradition of Thay, we don't say that we the bell. No, we invite the bell. With gentleness, we invite the bell to offer a sound to us. And in our heart, we say to people who are listening, and to ourselves, we say in silence, listen, listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. And in the teaching of Thay, there is always this reminder, please go back home to your true home. And where is our true home? Is inside here, wherever we are. However things are, this space is always with us. And as with any home, when we take care of our home, the home is better. Because taking care brings what we know, taking care, being kind too. So I invite you to, for a moment, like children adore to do that. Close your eyes and just allow yourself just to listen to 3 sounds of the bell. Wherever you are in this moment, just stop and listen. First, a very small sound, which is called waking up the bell. Because with this small sound, everybody knows that after 3 breaths, a full sound will come, and we are ready to listen. And we breathe in, out 3 times. And then again, one more sound. And kindly we bow to the bell, our friend. And sometimes when we are in a circle, within a school, we are more than one person, so we are together. Many things can happen thanks to the bell. We can start even just very simply sharing how I feel, how I was feeling thanks to this sound, what was happening in my body, mind, and many other things. But if we want to go through this book, we have to go through the book, okay? So the bell, as I was telling, is not necessarily this object. It can be the church bells. In Italy, we are full of church bells, but it can be the telephone, it can be any other. Even many people now put in the computer, you put some sound so that when you hear that sound, you are invited to stop. It is an invitation to go home, okay? So this is the second small chapter, the bell of mindfulness. Then chapter number 3 is sitting. Well, sitting, we have been sitting now more than 1 hour. And how many things are related to the way we sit? So how we are comfortable, easing the posture, so we can take care of the posture. And when we say posture, we don't mean only muscles, and arms and spine, also the inner posture. So that is a very big chapter, the sitting and finding the way of being comfortable with the body, with the breath, with the mind. It is an exploration which we are never tired of doing that exploration and relaxing. Because one practice important for sitting is relaxation. So relaxing slowly, all our members, all our parts of our body. And in the tradition of Thay, for years, we have been happy to receive instructions by a nun who is like, the spiritual sister of Thay. Her name is Sister Chan Kong. And for years and years, she has been teaching deep relaxation in a very poetic way, because we can relax our body, offering gratitude to our liver, to our lungs, to our heart, to all our organs, to all our cells, because our body, we can discover, is a community of cells. And they really interact, When the liver is not happy, digestion is not happy. And when digestion is not happy, many other things happen. Even our heart starts, to say, I'm not happy at all with you. And so through our attention to the body, just sitting, we can, enter into the world of recognition, gratitude, and therefore we open the door to happiness. Because a grateful being is already happy, even in the midst of a lot of problems. There are drops of happiness which already manifest. And then number 4, we go to number 4 chapter, because it's very important, walking. We are meeting here in a room at the moment. We are not walking. But mindful walking is a basic, very important practice in the teaching of Thay. And doing it with school children, any age, can be very inspiring. It means it's an invitation to go into nature. It's an invitation to discover our feet, how they are in touch with the ground. And we can make every step bringing our mind not only into our feet and into the earth, into the ground. And this opens a very important, very interesting chapter, how we walk on the earth, what we bring to the earth when we walk. Are we bringing all our agitation with our steps? Or are we, with every step, saying, I'm here, I'm here, I am present, thank you, thank you, I have arrived, I am home. So our steps, the quality of our steps change. And this interesting again, we can do walking meditation, we can train ourselves in walking, in mindfulness, in our home. Just going from the kitchen to the bathroom, from the bedroom to the living room. Why not? So any place, any time, wherever we are, we can give to our steps a new quality, which is made of our presence, of our breath, which is calming down, which is made of our attention, recognition of how precious is life in this very moment, since I can walk, I can move, which means I can go and discover. I can go and meet my friends, meet my school friends, meet my school children, meet my relatives, my grandmother, thanks to my steps. And we understand it is an old world which opens up, because there is no moment in life where we cannot do it if we want. Even if we are running to catch a flight, we can do it mindfully. And even those steps can be different. But in daily life, we can really appreciate mindful steps wherever we are, just training ourselves. And I can tell you by experience, children and young people in a way can really love it, but they can love it only if it is something that we transmit with joy, because otherwise can be very boring, you understand? So it is not, now let's go slowly, but let's enjoy feeling, touching, arriving, breathing, experiencing, discovering. So it is a never-ending discovery. And again, we go, chapter 5, to the body. This time, the body is not sitting, the body. And we are in India, so in India, well, you have the richness of all the yoga postures, all that the yoga can do, or all the sports. I mean, it's a chapter which is just to explore any age, and wherever we are, we can, just enjoy exploring how rich is this instrument, this tool, this presence, which is a body. And again, it's a community of cells. Again, body means body, mind. So it's all together. So I leave this chapter open to your exploration, because it's an immense chapter where we can just discover and enjoy. Lying in deep relaxation, in India it's called Yoga Nidra, walking, standing, kneeling, lying down, anyhow. Any time of the day, we can bring our awareness to the body, the condition of our body. And we go to number 6, because this is again a very interesting discovery, eating. So bringing mindfulness to the daily activity, daily rich, precious, I would say lucky possibility that we have to eat, which is again, is not given for granted to eat, how we eat. Today again, we can eat. And how many times a day we eat? And Thay here brings a wonderful experience of really bringing our mindfulness, our presence to the food, even before putting a piece of bread into our mouth. We look at that piece of bread, recognize the preciousness of it. We recognize that it is the gift of the universe, a piece of bread. Not only, it is a gift of many hands that have made, from the crops, from nature, have brought, the wheat to make a piece of bread or chapati, what it is, the cooking. So a piece of bread, what is now in my dish, in my hand, is just, Thay, he likes to say, is an ambassador of the whole universe. Is bringing me news from the universe. And I am so lucky to be able to put into my mouth with this new quality of presence. Isn't that wonderful? And I can chew it, I can savor, I can really make it, And shall we think just a moment how happy is our stomach receiving food which is already almost digested, because it's not swallowed without knowing what it is, but it is received as a gift from the old cosmos. And here we can spend time inquiring, and especially we spend time with our children wherever we are, already in our home. For example, we have tangerine meditation. It's not a piece of bread, but it's a tangerine. And to have a tangerine in our hands and look and smell and feel, and then peeling the tangerine, and then taking all the little pieces of the tangerine, one by one, slowly, savoring and chewing. It is a journey into the cosmos. And today we talk too much about protecting Mother Earth and what is the best way to protect Mother Earth, acknowledging the preciousness of food and giving time to recognize the quality of food, the quantity of food, and for sure, when we stop and breathe and calm down and appreciate that small piece of food, and we really are aware of it being so precious, the whole body rejoices. All the energy expands in terms of happiness. And how many times a day we can, at least once a day, we could give attention to that. And I remember Thay talking about the biscuit of his childhood. He remembers that, when he was a child and his mother was giving him a biscuit, and he brought that biscuit under a tree, and he was really savoring that biscuit. And he says, that is the biscuit of my childhood. I will never forget. And I'd like to share with you that many, many years we have done something which is called, here in Italy, it's called the Field of Happiness. which is a program which lasts 1 week, 1 full week, where we are together, parents and children together, aged from 5, 6 to 12, 13, for 1 week, full week, in an hermitage, in a forest. And we do all these practices. And at the end of the week, one day, one boy who was already 12 wrote a letter saying, in going back home, I realized that I had never savored and appreciated food in my life as in that week, as I was in that week. So I was really feeling the taste of the food. Because for doing that, and we were 50 people in a room, 50. So 14, 15 children, 15 parents, plus all the helpers. So 15 people eating in silence. And even reading some grateful, something before eating. But you find all these things in the book, so you can develop. But it is a real treasure, eating in mindfulness. And young people and children are really able to appreciate it. With the raisin, with the fruit, with the biscuit, in a true way. Then, number 7. This is a very interesting chapter, very, very important. Taking care of our emotions. Amo, shall we stay here 3 more hours? Because to consider together how to take care of our emotions, we understand, it's a journey, the many steps.
We need a whole life.
Yes, but it is possible already now. Already we did a little thing with our little girl inside. And, emotions, we know, it's our daily life is made of emotions, because everything we hear, what changes everything is to become aware of my emotion. That is, I become aware, sensitive to what is happening. So I don't hide my emotion, I don't forget, I don't ignore, I don't deny. Me angry? No, I'm not angry. You are angry. You. I know. I'm never angry. So the first awareness, first recognition, and it is possible only if we train in the art of stopping and listening to breath and life. If we are always jumping and running and in agitation, we are agitated. But it's our normal state. And we don't understand why the reflex on other people is more or less, anger, agitation, da-dam. What we know very well, we are expert. So emotions is a very interesting chapter. And I want to spend a little time here with a teaching that Thay, gives all of us about our consciousness, our deep consciousness. Because our emotion, what happens in the moment, is not happening by us, it's connected, as we know, everything is connected. So not by chance. Chance is not there. There's always a connection with something else. So Thay speaks of our consciousness and all his ancestors. This is, the richness of the teaching in centuries, okay? Our consciousness is okay, has different levels, and the deep level of our consciousness, which is called store consciousness, contains all the seeds of our emotions, of our possible emotions that become, when they manifest, they become mental formations, that is, way of thinking, of perceiving reality, of distorting reality, of don't seeing reality. Now, these seeds, so the seed of anger, the seed of fear, the seed of anxiety, the seed of not benevolence, whatever we call it, the seed of unhappiness. The seeds are in our store, deep consciousness, just as much as there are seeds of quiet, of kindness, of benevolence, of understanding, of joy, of happiness. All of these seeds are there. So it is very useful to be aware of that and to be aware that just like any seed, if we water a seed, it will sprout. And if we water again and fertilize, put some cow dung, then it becomes a plant and then a tree. But if a seed, for example, let's take the most dangerous one, the seed of anger. If we know it is there, but we are quite careful not to water it, not to fertilize it, it will sleep. It will not come out and become, a big tiger wanting to destroy everybody around. So when we speak about emotion, we are speaking about our potential of manifesting positive emotions, our potential of manifesting destructive emotions, and what is more important, our potential of becoming aware of the destructive emotions when they are there, recognizing that first noble truth, recognizing the suffering, because destructive emotions create suffering, create, bad relationships, and we fight, etc. So I can recognize that emotion, I recognize the seed in me, and I can recognize also the emotion in the other person, the seed in the other person, and I start practicing a very profound teaching, which is called selective watering. That is selective. Shall I water the seed of happiness, the joy, of calm, of benevolence, of generosity, of gratitude? Or shall I water in that person and before, even in myself, with my behavior, with my way of speaking, with my way of thinking, I water other seeds, negative seeds, destructive seeds? And we can really keep a diary, keep a booklet, with two sides. On one side, we can note all the positive seeds and the positive emotions and positive states of mind and way of thinking and speaking and acting that manifests in our daily life. So in family, at school, wherever. And then we put our booklet, the other side, and we take note of all the other seeds, negative, destructive seeds, and take note of all the moments in our daily life when they manifest, and we become more, little by little, day after day, more aware of our emotions, where they come from, how we can take care of them, not ignore, and transform. And there is this beautiful law of interbeing, which means that a seed of anger can interact with a seed of peacefulness, calmness, and today we know from neuroscience, etc., from modern science, we know that every emotion is not eternal. Every emotion can last 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe more, 30 seconds, but not more. Then an emotion is, and if we take care of it, so don't ignore, miracles can happen. We facilitate transformation. And last eight is the eighth chapter, is being together. This also is very important. We are already experiencing it. So I would say we profit from this eighth chapter, which is called Being Together, to make an experience together, because we still have almost 20 minutes more. And we want to devote to your question, so question answer, which means communication, which means sharing. So I would like now to open, this time for sharing, so that we can have the experience of being together, just as it is in the book, which means communication. Okay, so we make it alive. And the second part of the book, you will look at it, and next century we will meet again. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adrian, for opening out the book for us. I've had the book for about a month, but I said I'm not going to read it till you open it out for me. Or more, I think I've had it. Yeah.
Yeah, much
From
more.
November.
I tell you, I know, at least 3 months.
Yes, November. Yeah.
But don't worry about the book. Let's practice.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have shared something, and now we can share more, because we are shared that I have shared with you. Now, if you like, who wants, can share with all, including myself, and I would be very happy to listen to everyone. And now, what are the in English, the guiding lines? Yeah, the guiding lines are two important qualities. One is listening really with attention, listening, and which is called deep listening. And the second is loving speech. But to start with, I say, now that we want to share, every one of us can listen to what the other wants to share, or a question, you want to ask a question, okay? So free to do it, because now it's time for all. And all of us will listen, and we can discover something, because we can listen in a double, very rich way. We can listen to the words of the other person, and we can at the same time listen to our immediate response in our mind. Sometimes there is a reaction. Sometimes there's always a judgment. Oh, this question is intelligent. No, this question is a stupid question. Understand? So deep listening means we are really present to what the other is saying, because I'm listening, but also listening to what our mind says, because our mind speaks all the time, speaks a lot. And to make friends with our mind is a big job, very interesting. So now let's be open to this listening of each one who you want to ask questions. And there are no stupid questions. All questions, if they come from the heart, are all beautiful questions. So open to any question from your heart mind.
Hi, I'm Ahalya here.
I want to see you. Where are you? I want to see you. I don't see the one who is speaking.
Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Ahalya.
Thank you so much for taking us through this process. And I have been practicing mindfulness for some time now. I mean, trying to practice, I would say. So, yeah, I'm in the journey. So, the more I am trying to be aware of the emotions and the presence, the more difficult it gets sometimes. And especially, it's more painful when you kind of are aware, because otherwise you wouldn't even know that you have been angry or had this negative emotion. But when you're aware, you know that you shouted at this person, and immediately you know that it would have hurt. And at terms of conflict, so I've been getting this thing for quite some time now. So however you're mindful when generally you're happy, but when there is a conflict, when there is somebody who is doing something which you do not actually want them to do, then how do you basically be mindful of that is something which I'm really struggling to do, because generally I also have practiced gratefulness, so it works wonders for me, because it helps me to be happier. But in terms of conflict, that's where I lose it. So if you can tell something about it, it will be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, because your question is everybody's question. I'm sure in a way, sooner or later, we will not jump on that, and so thank you very much. It brings really in a very simple way, in a way, you have been very clear, because we were talking about being grateful, therefore something that you appreciate. And of course, to appreciate, it's not difficult to appreciate. It's not given for granted, because even to appreciate, we have to practice appreciation. In our society, everything is granted. So, okay, so appreciation is already a very good state of the situation. But now conflict, the difficulty, because of course conflict immediately evokes that there is something wrong somewhere. And in our ancestral education, he is wrong, you are wrong, she is wrong, I am not wrong. You understand? Mm-hmm. So this brings into the light, of the first light, on the stage, and so don't be afraid of that, because it is universal. We if we are honest, we will just acknowledge it. It belongs to you, to me, everybody, in different degrees. Mm-hmm. And so it implies something which, again, is not always in ourselves, which is humility, being humble. But being humble, we must be careful, because in many cultures, and you know very well also in India, being humble may mean something completely different, wrong, because, you are my teacher. That is not humility. That is, I would say, discrimination. It's not humility, it's separation. So nothing to do with humility. What we are talking about is awareness of being responsible also of that situation. So stopping to attribute to somebody else. And this is a little painful, because, I discover that I am not really that little saint that I want to be. So it means to make friends with the weak parts of ourselves. And since we have said that happiness and suffering are always together, so if we really are able to be in touch with our suffering, and we are no longer afraid of looking into our eyes, our way of being, which is, arrogant or whatever, you can call it in many different ways, everything but not compassionate, not benevolent, because otherwise there would not be conflict. So if we just analyze, what is conflict? Conflict means two fighting. Interbeing means two embracing, Shall we add anything more, my dear friend?
Thank you so much.
It's a practice. It's a practice. And I tell you, because of experience, it is a wonderful, really, it's wonderful. And sometimes I let myself cry, how stupid I am, how fragile I am, how much I also need to be understood. But I cannot ask anybody to understand me. So I cry. How weak, how sometimes not really patient in listening. So you can take note in your book, as we have said, in your naughty book, you can take note of all the different stages of this tendency to not see the conflict, as if we have to dismantle, you see, like, you understand, make it to powder till it disappears. But in the beginning, it hurts. Because I am good. We are both good and bad. Doesn't matter. Because we change. Thank you, Thay.
Thank you. So if I can just ask a follow-up question.
Of
So I
course.
think it's also a fear that if you start to be, what do you say, that if you're not in conflict, say if you're aware and if you start giving up, fighting back, what would you would end up being like that all the time, right? Because the other person is not in the journey and he's never, or he or she's never going to understand unless they go into that journey. And because you're in the journey and you always keep because you're mindful and if you're aware and you stop being angry, say stop being voicing out, then would you end up being very frustrated later because the other person is probably not going to change, at least when you want it? Is that a healthy fear?
Thank you. This again is a universal question. At least 2,000 times it has been put, this question. This is the only reason why I become an expert, because these questions are so universal that unless you understand what is behind, what are you doing? Nothing. So don't worry. What is happening to you is simply happening to human beings. Okay, it's universal. What changes the picture is that we become aware and we master the good means we take steps. Okay. Now, an interesting statement. Take note. The statement is your enemy. So the one who in the very moment is your enemy. Just to make it short, your enemy or whatever. Okay. It can be your boyfriend, your husband, whoever. He or she is your path. Your path is not here and he lives there. No, he or she is your path. So whatever is happening in between is just, a beautiful opportunity to practice, nothing less. It's not easy to accept, but it is a law. This has nothing to do with scientists, with Buddhism. No, this is just a universal law. The obstacle that you are meeting is just what you have to learn to transform. Otherwise, it is an obstacle, that's all. And if I think
this is a more relieving perspective.
You understand, no? Because if you look deeply, it is also very interesting, and it is a universal medicine, a very big medicine. Because we finally realize and accept, that we don't have to separate. I don't do meditation in my room on my cushion for 20 minutes to go out and being desperate because there is noise. Nobody was meditating. I was meditating, and I was not meditating at all, because if I was meditating, I could be much more understanding and able to listen and you understand, and be in touch. And I tell you something, you Indian friends, because this lesson was given to me in 1978 in the Theosophical Society. My first meditation lesson, a group of theosophists was offering, and I was there, 78, Madras, Theosophical Society. I was there with my daughter, who was 6 years old. And at the end of meditation, the teacher said, theosophist said, you see, Adriana, if you are with your closed eyes and your daughter is playing somewhere, and you're meditating, and then after half an hour you open your eyes and she jumps on you, and of course she was playing, she's dirty with, with the soil, and you are all in white, and you are very, you are not happy at all. This is clear. You were not meditating at all. You were elsewhere. You were fantasizing. But if you open your eyes and she jumps on you and she makes you all, and you hug, embrace her, and you are happy, you were really meditating. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there is any other question, we are open.
I'm Srila, and can you see me? Yeah, I have founded a Montessori school, and I'm trying to kind of bring in a spiritual feeling in this very fast world, trying to make people think spiritually is my, what should we should say, my path to practice this difficult exercise. But one thing which I have realized is that since, it comes with practice and it comes over time. So by the time you have crossed a certain age and you are of a certain, basically a certain level of maturity you reach only by virtue of the time that you have passed and the kind of experience that you have had, that you can reach that point. So when we try to inculcate and try to build the seeds of this in the young, I'm talking about the very young to the teenagers to the youth, they will always have this agitated situation because they have not crossed those number of years. So what is the kind of expectation that one should help this youth and the teenagers to feel that what can they expect? Because they would say it only will come with maturity, we know, because it comes with practice. So whatever we are doing, we have every right to be excused. I really don't have sometimes an answer to this.
Thank you. This is a very important question. And the good news is that, no, it is not a matter of age. It can happen. It can happen in different degrees, in an astonishing way, with a very young or less young, just as much as with old age, it cannot happen. So it has not to do with age. Yes, it has to do with practice. The good news is that even one moment of real practice, of real presence, can change things in a magic way. So this is the first part of my answer to your question. And a second part has to do with seeds. Okay, you are in a class and you see that, children or whatever, they're very young and they need time. but already you are watering good seeds in them. So already what you are doing is not lost at all, because you are already kind of preparing a better soil in their life. And they won't forget, just as much as you won't forget when your mother, I don't know, was beating you when you were 3 years old. You understand? So it stays with you. Experience stays with you. And so is never a time which is not. And one thing more, in the last 20 years, in the community of Thay, of Thich Nhat Hanh in France, Plum Village is where he has been based, and he has created community in many places in the world, community around Thay, both monastic community and lay community. I have met, I can give you really my testimonial, and many young people who are more advanced than myself, or that have been catching up in a very fast way, very young and very already able to follow this path. And there is something important to add: the concept of community, which in your language, in Sanskrit, is called Sangha. To create community. So you alone may feel desperate, but if you start connecting even with only one person who is on the same path, who can be younger than you or elder than you in practice, I don't say in age, but in practice. Somebody has been practicing already 3 years, you have just started, or vice versa, okay? And you connect, and you connect, the effort, connect the goodwill, the motivation, and you go together in nature, in walking meditation or whatever, and you share, and then 2 become 3 or 4 or 5, and so you create a small community, which can be in your family ground or in school ground, whatever, okay, community, friends, and connecting. In a way, it's what we are doing today. We are trying to share an experience which is useless if it stays here, because no, it would be sterile, no meaning. But if it can go and communicate and share at any point in your journey, this becomes a strength. So in the world at this moment, we are many people are sharing and linking, making community practice, connecting. Yes.
With same views and.
Well, the practice, because the practice, if you look, with an open eyes, the practice is one. Then you can say in calming down, but breathing is universal. And to calming down to breathing, nobody can say, no, it's not true, because it's universal. And walking in a way with our breathing and with calm and with awareness is universal, because if you don't know how to put your feet, or if you know where you put feet, changes your way of walking. Eating is the same thing. Deep relaxation is the same thing. Sharing and listening with real attention and speaking with benevolence, these are all universal. It's a very, it does not belong to any
culture.
Absolutely. The value of what is inside here is experience, real experience, universal potential, therefore possibility for every being. And I would add, no expectation. Because when we add expectation, that is very dangerous, because we measure, we compare, you understand? And then we separate. When we just enjoy the time, the moment, the present, what is there is there. No more, no less. I want to leave all of you with the, okay, listen.
No. Only what I wanted to say, that engaging with them should be a never-ending process.
Yes, no doubt. Can you imagine the sun the sunshine, sun says, no, I don't want to rise today. Because the sun is rising every day, there is vegetation, life on the planet. And mysteriously, this is exactly the same. Our motivation and our understanding that this is a process which is part of life with a capital L, you understand? You are truly alive. You are not just, you understand? Truly alive.
Thank you. Yes.
I want to say goodbye. I think, I don't know, Mukta, if this is time to, I don't know, to leave, but I want to leave with an experience, with a nice message. It is from a boy who was already 15, so therefore it was first year of upper school. And he was a boy who has been adopted by Italian family. He is from Russia. He's not Italian. And at the moment, that happened 3 years ago when I was there going in that school, and he was very, very difficult. So there was a special teacher following him because, he had real, problems, not only of communication, of concentration, everything. And he wanted always to fight with these, with other boys, and he was rejecting everything, everybody. It was never really okay. Even one day I tell him, but Andrew, you have beautiful eyes. He said, no, my eyes are awful. I am, it was okay. So going out and in the classroom anytime, because he was free with the assistant, okay. After 3 months that we were working, spending time together, I was going there just for education to mindfulness, to the students. Okay, so I was the teacher for them. So one morning we were in the classroom, bringing all the chairs together in a circle, and we were there, and he did not go out. He went to the blackboard, and we were just pretending not to look at him. He was just going to the blackboard and writing. And what is writing? He writes, I want to tell you that I am in a prison and I want to go out of my prison. I need your help. Please help me. I love you. Can you imagine? Everybody was crying. I want to leave you with this story. So he was telling us, you are not wasting your time with your calming and stopping and breathing. And of course, it is very complex what we do now. Thank you, everybody. Can I see everybody?
Unmute all of you and we can see each other.
Yeah. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Some last statements from anybody? Adriana, can we have a statement from some of the people if they want to say something? Adriana, a few minutes? Yes.
Thank you so much.
So, incidentally, today I told a story to my children where the son went missing. So it was such a coincidence to listen that from you. And unless there is darkness, we can never appreciate light. So that is what I take back. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you. Namaste.
Indumati wants to say something.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was really good, and it was a very amazing experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you. Thank you.
Rekha wants to say something. Here. Yeah, go ahead. Sharda?
It was a very transformative experience, like imagining a 5-year-old girl in your heart and experiencing that. It really gives a what do you call, like a different perspective when you connect with the child. Yeah, thank you very much for that experience.
Thank you to you all.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste.
Today's experience was really a rejuvenating one. I reflect on this and I take away question: how do we maintain joy in a child, and how can I help it to grow? Thank you so much.
Thank you to you.
Rabba, you want to say something?
Good evening, Amukta, and good evening, Adriana. I'm from TVS Academy, Hosur. Amukta, hi once again to you.
Yeah. Hi.
And Adriana, such a lovely, lovely session. In fact, we began this year at TVS Academy with Happy Teaching of Thich Nhat Hanh. And I believe this is sheer providence that I was able to attend the session with you. Thank you for such a wonderful session on reflections and mindfulness. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to you. Namaste.
Anybody else? Ayushi, you want to say something? I can see you here. Yeah.
I just truly have immense gratitude for the experience and for just being able to listen to you today, and to be able to take away a few of the things will be really, really meaningful. So just hoping and working on the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to you. Namaste.
Thay, you want to say something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That story really touched my heart, Adriana. Thank you. The story you said towards the end, the thought that went through my head as an adult was, what have we done to the world? What have we, what we put our children through? And, I was relating to how you began the entire experience today, that so much of what we are today is what happened to us in our early years. And so therefore, there is so much responsibility when I'm a teacher, what I bring to the classroom when I'm with children. It's so important. It makes it so relevant. And that story is going to stay with me. And I hope the entire community of adults will bring all those children who are in prisons out of their prisons. And in that way, get out of our prisons also. We are also in prisons. I think being with children is a great experience. Thank you for that story. That was so beautiful.
Thank you to you all.
Anybody else wants to say? Vimla's here. Vimla? Is that Vimla? Or somebody else?
Yeah. No, it is me.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. I want to just say thank you. It was very thought-provoking. And my key takeaway is how we constantly have to try and bring forth what is inside of children and also of ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Anybody else? Otherwise, we can close here. Yeah. Thank you so much, Adriana.
Yeah, thank you, Amo.
Wonderful for this experience and for sharing with you. Adriana and I have done pottery together. We have baked pizza together. And this is another.
And I remember always you playing with the fishermen's children. You remember?
Yes.
Just on the shore in Adyar. The first time I met you was there, and you were doing something with the children of fishermen.
Yeah, I had a school for fishermen's children, a non-formal.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Amukta. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mother India.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adriana.
Thank
Thank
you
you
to
so
you.
much.